You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Okay, so in episode 3 of Cheat, it picks up where episode 2 leaves off, which is Paul giving Liam a chance to leave. That's what he wants to do, because he kept threatening to leave Olivia if she didn't drop, like, he claimed, she just won't drop the thing that I did in the past, when he actually cheated on her again. The information she had was true, but he kept denying it. And I want to talk about Liam and that behavior, but let me just get into it. So he chooses to stay in the villa, but he still denies that there was another woman. He says there was, okay, hold up. He says that there wasn't another woman that he cheated on her with, and the only time he cheated was like in the past, um, in that relationships. Olivia wants to fight for their relationship, and it's actually like really sad that she still kind of wants to be with him after that, after like having proof that he cheated. He's still denying it. He gaslit you, um saying that you were a bad person because you wouldn't let go of what he did in the past, and then give you an ultimatum telling you, oh well, um telling you, oh well, if you don't get over this, I'm gonna leave. And he basically was like, I want to marry you. Like, I literally want to buy you a ring. And if you don't want that, or if you don't want that, if you don't get over this, then you're not getting any of that. Um, he wants her to trust him or whatever. But he's not making it easy for that to happen. But anyways, it goes to them going back to the villa after the what is retribution or something? What is it called? Something, y'all. I still don't know. The guys don't believe that Dan's apology was genuine. They say that it was too perfect, basically. And it was like Paul said, it was a storybook, a textbook apology. And I kind of feel like they kind of got mixed up when he was saying that. He wasn't saying that to make Dan feel bad. He was saying that to teach them how to apologize. And he was like, this is how you apologize. Like, compliment him, giving him his props. He wasn't saying it was a bad thing. But I feel like they took it wrong, because they were like, there's no way. Like, he said it so perfectly. And um he had all of the words to say. Like, it was just so perfect. It was just so like, and I was like, huh? I don't know. But anyways, Rebecca believes she accepts Dan's apology, and she also believes that he meant what he said. But she said, but once they like express their opinion, she's like, she wants to have a conversation with him to make sure that it was his apology was um genuine or whatever. So in the villa or whatever, Craig and the other Rebecca C, if I'm not mistaken, is flirting. And I kind of feel like that little back and forth that they got is really dangerous, because I feel like Rebecca is at this point where she is disgusted with Biggs, and she doesn't really see herself working things out with him. So she's attracted to Craig. So she is open to explore something between the two of them. And you can really see Craig fighting it or whatever, but it's hard because that's who he's around, I guess. But anyway, Paul comes up with this exercise to pair them with a person they can learn from. um to kind of get something out of this experience, like trying to get them to open up to each other and stuff like that. So Olivia tells Rebecca G that Big wants to grow for her. She says that she really feels like that Biggs wants to grow for her and that he wants to be a better person. Um then she tells Rebecca that she had proof of Liam cheating or whatever. She tells her that she actually talked to the girl. She had text messages and stuff like that. She just wants him to admit it and he refuses to admit it. Rebecca doesn't think Liam has a leg to stand on after the conversation she has with Olivia. Um and she just feels like he might as well just fess up because she knows for facts that he cheated. So then it goes to Rebecca C and Liam. Rebecca C is grilling Liam about the allegations, like the things that's going on. He doesn't give her anything. She was determined to get something out of him and she wasn't able to get anything out of him. He refuses to fess up and own up to what he did. Liam says that Dan doesn't know how to express himself, but he believes he wants to change. That's what he tells Rebecca C. Kind of trying to like help Dan out, help him out and get her to see that Dan wants to change. He just having issues expressing himself, and I really do believe that Dan is having issues expressing himself. I think a lot of men do. So instead of expressing themselves, they do things to kind of sabotage the relationship. It's kind of like self-sabotage. I don't really know how to navigate this, so I'm just gonna do something that puts me in a situation where I have to learn how to navigate this, if that makes sense. I don't know, it probably doesn't to y'all. um Lucia tells Dan that the guys didn't believe his apology and he is pissed. He's wanting to know, like, why wouldn't they believe it? Like, I was being really genuine, so why don't they believe my apology? He was pissed. Lucia still loves Connor but doesn't think he loves her. Dan tells her that Connor said he found Amberly attractive. He told her about the game that they played and that Dan told everybody that he found Amberly attractive. She immediately has a meltdown and starts crying. I just kind of feel like he shouldn't have said that, like, especially since she just told you that she don't believe that he loves her. Like, it was stupid. Do I think he was trying to be malicious? No, but I think because he doesn't know how to talk, he just says things and it gets him into trouble. um when Rebecca G returns to the house, she apologizes to Olivia for not being able to get Liam to confess to anything. She is really emotional about it. She tells Olivia that she's sorry she couldn't get him to confess because that's really what she wanted to do. Um So they're telling Liam that Olivia has evidence that he cheated, and he says, if it's real, I'll admit it. And I'm like, what do you mean if it's real? You know when you've had sex with somebody, you know when it's real. Like, what you mean? That's how you know he did it. He did it and he was trying to hide the fact that he did it. But him saying, like, if it's real, he literally cannot say, I cheated. If it's real, I'll confess, I'll admit it, whatever. That's not you being honest at all. Like, he has issues. Jazz tells Connor that Lucia doesn't believe he loves her. Um, Connor says that him and Lucia has not spoken in 5 years. He claims she won't see the good side of him because they haven't spent time together. So he's really sticking to this. We haven't been around each other. She hasn't seen me, so she doesn't know that I've changed. It's been 5 years since we've seen each other or whatever. Um, Connor tells is it Jazz? Jazz. Connor tells Jazz that he thinks that Craig is sincere because of his approach. Jazz finds it surprising that Craig is like emotional and hurt and feeling things because he usually doesn't express emotions to her. And that's another thing I want to talk about too later on. So it goes to Craig and I think what's Sean. They're talking. And Craig says that it was hard to let Jazz go and he wishes she trusts him and believe that he really wants to be better for her and fix things and stuff like that. And he also like says that he just wants Jazz to say that she loves him and show him affection. And Sean agrees and he says that he would literally break down if Tegan hugged him. Like he really just wants affection from her. He really wants her to know. And he's like, I know that I was the one that did wrong. I know I made a mistake, but it would really make me feel secure if she would believe that he made a mistake and he wants to work things out and he wants to be better for her. And he said he would literally break down and cry if she hugged him. And I actually like the fact that they explained it that way because both of them were in the wrong, but I feel like it's two sides to things, right? Somebody betrays you, they cheat on you or something like that. And I think as women, a lot of the times, especially me, and I'm not going to even say that I don't feel this way no more, but I think we straight up go to the fact that we don't think that they loved us in the first place, because how could you do that to somebody you love? And I stick behind that, but I also feel like when men do something wrong, instead of like how Paul said that what's the girl name, Steph, I think, was like scorekeeping and like always like hanging it over his head that he did something wrong. And I'm not saying that I feel like you should coddle a man after he cheats on you, but I really understand them wanting that emotional security when they do something wrong. I get it, but I feel like when you put yourself in a situation where you do something to betray your partner, you have to suffer the consequences of that. And yeah, you may want that emotional security and you may want to know that that person loves you and they still desire you or whatever, but that is your own guilt to deal with. You cannot try to force somebody to put their feelings aside to nurture you and your emotions and stuff like that. It's unfair to think like that, but I also get it. I get it. I'm not the notion that men do still have feelings even when they do something wrong. Like, I'm not saying that I had to see them talk about that to understand that, but I kind of feel like as women, we kind of just feel like they don't feel anything because a lot of times they do have how they feel. So we feel like, you don't feel anything. And also when we're done wrong in a situation, we expect men to like try to prove to us why we should give them a chance, but we have a wall up. And if your wall is up, that person can't prove nothing to you for real. And I feel like that's what I kind of took away from that conversation between Sean and Craig. And it was refreshing, I'm not gonna lie. Dan tells Connor what he told Lucia, and Connor is like, why would you do that? Like, that's stupid. Like, you made the situation worse, and it didn't even have to be that way just because you don't know how to talk to people. Jazz tells Lucia what Connor said, that they haven't seen each other in 5 years, and she said that's a lie. And she also said that they had sex a month prior to coming on the show. So it was strange that he was trying to make it seem like they didn't see each other in so long. Like, I don't understand what the point of him doing that was, but sometimes you don't understand them. Steph finally hears Andre out and they get an understanding, and I was really happy to see it because she really was disgusted by him. She didn't really want to hear what he had to say, and that goes back to what I was saying. A lot of the times when men do wrong, we put a wall up, but we also still expect them to climb that wall to prove to us that they only want us and that they are sorry and that they want to change their behavior. And I kind of feel like there is give and take even when you're betrayed in a relationship. If you are willing to take that person back when they are trying to work on themselves and trying to make up for betraying you, you have to be open to what they're trying to give you, and you also have to give something back. You can't just expect it to be a one-way street when it comes to that. And I kind of feel like as women, we do kind of get caught up in our feelings and our emotions and how we feel and like our betrayal, but we don't hold space for their feelings and their emotions and how they may feel about themselves after doing that. Because I do believe that there are some men out there who are gonna cheat and they're gonna do things to hurt women, but I also believe that there are men out there who do make mistakes, and I do feel like they learn from their mistakes and stuff like that. It would be hard for me to give a cheater a second chance because I have an illness, and I kind of feel like if you're willing to step out on me knowing that you can bring me something back to make me sicker than I already am, I can't forgive that. Because not only are you betraying my heart, but you're betraying my health. You're putting my health in danger. That adds another layer to it, and I just wouldn't be comfortable being with somebody who would do that. So, but I do feel like if you're in a situation where you're going to forgive somebody for cheating, you can't just shut down and then expect them to do all the work to make up for that situation. It's give and take. Even when you're betrayed by someone, you still have to give something in order to really receive what they're giving you. That's how I feel. Steph seems really happy after her and Andre kind of like express how they feel about each other. She gives him a hug, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Karen says there's a lot of unresolved issues when it comes to him and Amberly. He says he's guilty and he's sorry and he wants to move on. Amberly wants to communicate well with Kieran. She says his body language is a lot, and she tells Biggs to like just tell him like when he's approaching me to simmer down. Like he be coming at me hard, he be being aggressive, and it makes me uncomfortable. Like I don't like it, but I'm willing to communicate with him. And I thought that that was very big of her to do. I want to say this about this show. Paul really gives them solutions to their problem. Like before watching this show, I'm not gonna lie, I was like that, well, like why would they do a show like this? Why wouldn't you just leave a cheater? But I feel like if you had like a relationship therapist like Paul, and he gives them these exercises to rebuild that trust and stuff with each other, I feel like that would make it easier. Like he makes me feel like a person who cheats can't change if they had the right tools to do that. Like, let's get to the root of the problem and why you did it, and let's figure out other ways to resolve these issues and not go out and sabotage your relationship because your emotions are not being your emotional needs are not being met. And that is another conversation for another day too when it comes to men and their emotional needs. and how it always comes out after they've done something wrong and why it doesn't come out before they do. That's a topic I want to explore. So Big says that he made a mistake and it didn't mean anything to him, but then he admits to texting someone. I kind of feel like Amberly kind of sensed that he was hiding something, so she kind of like pushed to get something out of him, and he did admit that he was texting someone throughout his relationship with Rebecca. Um Amberly advises him to admit it early to get everything out so they can finally repair things. Um he admits it. She goes back and she tells Rebecca about it, and Rebecca feels like she's done. Like, she says that she's done with him. Every time Biggs admits something different or says something, you could tell that she's just over it. I don't feel like she's ever going to get to a place where she wants to work things out with him. She doesn't respect him. You can see it. And I kind of feel like when you lose your respect for somebody, you should leave that situation, because there it's going to get toxic from there. Connor says that he got with someone after his relationship with Lucia, and he was in love. They're doing this like thing where Paul has a group session where he calls a couple to come into the middle of the circle and to talk about certain topics that he brings up. And during this, Connor says that he got with someone after Lucia and he was in love with her. So she isn't his only love, but he is hers. He finally admits to sleeping with her a month prior. And he basically was acting like the sex didn't mean anything to him. She said the sex meant something to her. And she was hurt to hear him say that. Paul tells Connor, since Lucia isn't a hell yeah, she's a no. She tells him that she'll always be there for him when he starts expressing like how he likes that she supports him and all of this stuff. She says she'll always be there for him. And it kind of seems like their relationship is coming out of the romantic element and going into just friendship, because I feel like Connor doesn't like Lucia. He's not in love with her. He keeps saying that he wants to see where things go, but the way that he talks about her shows me that he doesn't love her in the way that she loves him, and like he's just trying to hold on to her for some reason. And I feel like Lucia needed to hear him say that he doesn't love her anymore, because I feel like she's still kind of hanging on to the fact that she doesn't know how he feels about her and she doesn't think he loves her, and I feel like she needed to hear it from his mouth. I think that this conversation actually happened on a one-on-one with Paul. Like the two of them spoke to Paul by themselves. This wasn't the group therapy session. This was one-on-one. When they're talking in the other villa, Jazz says she feels like Craig would get with Rebecca in another world, but she doesn't think that he would do it now. But if like he met her in another world, they would get together, and she doesn't seem to be bothered by it. Olivia says she wants the truth from Liam, and he finally admits it and says he erased it from his memory. And Paul is like, you had sex with somebody and you don't remember? And he's like, no, I don't remember. And you could tell that Paul is low-key disgusted. Liam is a terrible person. And let me tell you why he's a terrible person. He gaslit this woman for years about this. He gaslit her when they came here. He gave her an ultimatum and told her that if she doesn't get over what he did in the past, he's going to leave her, as if she did something wrong. every time the topic came up about him cheating with somebody else, he has been denying it. He has been lying. He has been gaslighting this girl. And then you finally admit that you did cheat. Paul says that Liam knows that he can do anything with Olivia and get away with it. And he asks Olivia, and he tells Olivia he feels like Liam can give her a crumb and she'll be happy with that crumb. Like, she's so desperate for his attention and his love that he can give her a little bit and she will accept it. And he asks her if a crumb is enough for her, and she says no, a crumb is not enough for her, and she wants more. And she, is trying to find her strength to leave him. And the episode ends there. And I just want to say, with the Liam and the Olivia situation, I feel like men like that will stick with women like Olivia because they know that they can get away with everything. It's just like Brion from Temptation Island. These men will get with these women because they know that she will let them get away with everything, and they will continue to hurt them and do different stuff to them or whatever because they don't feel like there will ever be consequences for what they do. And I feel like it's really messed up the way that he treated this girl from the first day of this show and in the past was so disgusting. It was so disgusting. She shouldn't even respect him. He has been lying, and then he has the nerve to say that he forgot that he slept with that girl. No, you did not forget. You just didn't want her to find out. And like, for you to try to say you forgot to make it seem like it was so insignificant after you gaslit this girl this whole time for thinking that you cheated when you know you did, it's crazy. Trying to pull her into your reality because you don't want to admit that you did something wrong. Something has to be mentally wrong with you to do that, and to think that you're to never take accountability for doing something like that. All you had to do was admit that you did it. That's all she wanted. I don't see her leaving him alone. I'm sorry, I don't. But the episode 3 ends there, and so we pick up on episode 4. So on episode 4, Olivia says that she doesn't deserve a crumb. She wants more. She says she needs to set boundaries, but Paul was like, no, that's not your issue. You need to love yourself. You don't love yourself. That is why you will keep letting him do this stuff to you. And she's nodding, but I don't think she's taking in anything he's saying for real. But she says that she needs time to decide if she wants to continue with Liam. And I'm just like, girl, why are you not done? You should be done at this point. But you never learn. They never learn. A lot of times people like that never learn. But the girls, excuse me, the girls, support her and try to like make her, speak life into her and things like that. And I just kind of feel like it's a waste of time. When it gets to Dan demands that the people who said he was insincere about his apology to speak up. And who was it that said something? I think it was either Andre or Biggs and somebody else that spoke up and said that they didn't believe his apology because it was too perfect. And he was like, I really meant that. And I do believe that Dan really was sincere about that apology. I feel like it was hard for him to say the things that he said, but he finally got it out. And I like that in this moment, he didn't focus solely on the fact that they said he lied, but he reiterated how he felt. He proved to them why his apology was sincere, and I do commend him for that or whatever, because I do believe him. Steph says she is willing to forgive Andre, so it's good to see them back on, the same track and moving forward with their relationship. Connor is says that he is ready to climb the mountain with Lucia. But he doesn't love that girl. He doesn't love her. He just kind of wants to be with her for some reason. But we find out that they're like, their families are intertwined. It's hard to break a relationship like that when you're close with each other's family. And I kind of feel like she's just comfortable for him. She's just somebody for him to fall back on when he's in between relationships. And it's unfair to her that he's doing her like that, and giving her enough to keep her around, keep her at arm's length, but not actually giving her what she desires. Paul tells them that he feels like there is a desire for them to be together, but Lucia needs to learn boundaries, meaning you do not run every time he calls you. You are not his savior. You are not his fallback on girl. You are not his rebound. Stop running to him. Stop sharing your body with him. Create boundaries. If y'all are going to be friends, that's fine, but stop giving him your body and stop always running to his rescue. Because he talks about how she was there when his father died, and he really appreciate her and all of that type of stuff. Okay. Amberly and Kieran finally makes peace. They finally admit that they both were wrong, and they apologize, and they express their desire to make things work. Rebecca says that she's struggling to move on. Biggs wants to make it work, but she's struggling to accept the fact that he cheated, because remember, she didn't know that he cheated. She literally found out on this show that he cheated, so it was a shock to her. So now she's dealing with his infidelity while going through this process. But I also still question, why is she there if she didn't know that he cheated? Like, what was the purpose of her going on the show? Did he ask her to come on the show? Did she ask him? I don't know. I don't get how that works. How didn't you know, but you're on a show for cheaters? Like, am I the only one that don't make sense to? I don't know. Jazz realizes that she needs to consider Craig's feelings. What I was saying earlier. I kind of feel like when it comes to Jazz and Craig, they are really prideful. Neither one of them wants the other to know how they really feel, because they feel like it makes them vulnerable and weak, and it doesn't give them the upper hand. And both of them want the upper hand in a situation. And I kind of feel like it's usually like that with black couples. We have a lot of pride a lot of the times, and when we have issues in our relationships, it's hard to let that person understand how you feel, because you feel like once I do this person can play with my feelings or whatever. And I kind of feel like that's their issue. Tegan says she doesn't feel that Sean's feelings are genuine. And Sean is like, you can tell that he's a little defeated, because I do feel like the girls were telling her how Sean talks about her and all of this stuff, and she's telling them like that doesn't mean nothing to me. I don't feel like it's genuine because he doesn't do it to me or whatever. Sean acknowledges that he doesn't know how to express himself. Paul says that he doesn't think that Tegan likes Sean, and she said if she didn't like him, she wouldn't be there. And I hate when people say that. I wouldn't be here if I didn't like him. Yes, you would, because you're on TV and you can get opportunities from this. Now, I don't know if I wouldn't say that I feel like she doesn't like him. I just kind of feel like, I don't know, she is stuck on a perception of him from in the beginning of their relationship. She's stuck on the fact that this person that she fell in love with has changed, and she doesn't know how to accept it. She wants the person that she began with, and he's not that person anymore. And I kind of feel like she doesn't really know what to do with that. Liam still won't outright say that he cheated. He keeps saying stuff like, if the proof is true, I'll own up to it. And he won't just say, yes, I cheated. So Jazz sticks up for Olivia, and she's grilling Liam about things because she wants him to admit it. She's going at him. Why can't you just say it? Why can't you just admit it? And then Craig checks her and tells her to stay out of their relationship, but she doesn't listen to him. She doesn't listen because it's like, what are you talking about? I'm really trying to stand up for my friend. I was confused too why he was saying stuff like that, when all of them literally do that whenever someone is, they hold each other accountable when they feel like someone isn't being honest about things. And so I was so confused why it bothered him so much that she was standing up for her friend. And it kind of made me feel like Craig was trying to find issues with Jazz because he's starting to like Rebecca. And I could be wrong, but we'll see as it keeps playing out. Paul finally gets him to admit that he lied. And he claims that he'll make Olivia a priority. And he basically said that he lied because he was already struggling to get Olivia to trust him after the first time he cheated. So he felt like this time he was going to keep it a secret because he didn't want to go through that again. He wanted her to trust him. So he kept it from her. And my whole thing is, if you wanted her to trust you, you wouldn't have cheated again. You would have just been faithful. You would have just treated her the way she wants to be treated. But because you didn't do that, you don't deserve her trust. So what are you talking about? It just didn't make sense. And I kind of feel like in the villa, you see Craig and Rebecca like interacting with each other. And I kind of feel like they're like entering the danger zone when it comes to, they're like teetering the lines of crossing the boundaries. Like, it's cool for them to be friends, but like Craig was talking to her about how he felt about Jazz sticking up for Olivia and saying that he wants her to focus on their situation and not everybody else's. And Rebecca was like, if things don't work out between the two of you, I'm here. And like, they laugh. And like, he's telling her that she's beautiful and all of these things. And I kind of feel like they're doing too much. They're doing a lot and they need to stop. So the exercise that I said they did in the beginning of my review actually was done toward the end of this episode, where he got them together for a group chat or whatever. And he had each couple sit in the middle and he asked them a series of questions and tried to clear the air or whatever. The first people he called was Jazz and Craig, and when they went to the middle of the thing, they didn't speak to each other or nothing. They just kind of sat down, and Paul calls it out and says that y'all didn't even say nothing to each other. And he calls them prideful, and he's so right. But after like he asked them the questions, it cleared the air. He was asking them like the things that they like about each other and stuff, and it was a lot of things that they were saying that they didn't know that, because Craig said he liked Jazz's sense of humor, and he was like, and she was like, really, you said that I'm not funny? He was like, you are funny, I just didn't want to admit it. And I'm like, that's childish. Like, that's so childish to me. Like, I'm not gonna compliment you because I don't want you to think that you got me in the palm of your hands, or like I'm wrapped around your fingers. Like, I don't want to treat you well because I don't want you to feel like you got the upper hand. That is childish. But that is really prevalent in our community. It really is. We are prideful. We do go back and forth. We do hold things back from each other because we're scared of getting hurt. But love is just that thing. When you have a relationship with somebody, the risk is getting hurt. You have to be okay with that. Like, I am not afraid to get hurt, because I know that when that relationship is not serving me, I'm going to leave it. And I do feel like a lot of times people will have their guards up and stuff like that because they're afraid when something happens in that relationship, they're not going to have the strength to leave. So they try to keep their person at arm's length in the relationship, and that makes no sense. It's childish and it makes no sense. Um the exercise actually helps all of the couples. They all are able to like clear the air and like get things out and stuff like that in a healthy way. And it was a really good exercise. But we finally go to Lucia and Connor. Lucia asks Connor if he loves her, and he says that he has love for her, but he doesn't love her. Paul corrects him and says that basically you don't love her. Like, just say it. You care for her, but you don't love her. And it was hard for Lucia to hear that, but it was also what she needed to hear. Because she needs to stop hanging on to him. He doesn't love you. He doesn't feel the same way about you. And if a person is not being upfront with you about their feelings, that's because they don't have them. And he's still sticking with, like, I want to see this through with her. And I just don't understand that. You let the girl go, let her go. And I kind of feel like that's what she wants. She wants him to let her go rather than walking away from him. That happens a lot with women. Like, a lot of women would rather get that person leave them than to leave that person, because a lot of us are not strong enough to leave. And that's how I feel like what's going on in this situation. So Sean finally gets through to Tegan in this exercise, and she accepts the fact that he really is trying to change and he's sorry and he wants to work things out with her, and they hug and he's happy about it. So it goes to Rebecca and Biggs. Rebecca asks Biggs if he's in love with her or what they had at the start. And he says, I'm in love with what we had at the start. So basically, I'm not really in love with you. I'm in love with what we had. And Paul points out that Rebecca seems to be disgusted by Biggs. And she says that she is. He disgusts her because she never thought that he would do that to her. And he did it. And she doesn't think that she can forgive him and move past it. So the exercise ends, and the cast go back into the villa, and they realize that the wall that was separating them was it came down. So now everybody is living together rather than them living apart in the two villas. The only thing that was separating them was a wall. So now that wall is gone, everybody is in the same house together, and that is going to be so interesting. But the look on Rebecca's face when she saw that, and I feel like she hated it, because that means that I can't really get close to Craig because now Jazz is going to be around. And she kind of sees Craig as like her relief because things are not going well with her and Biggs. And he's like an escape for her. And I feel like that wall being removed kind of took away the only comfort she had. And that's why I feel like she just reacted like, dang, why did they have to do that? But Episodes 3 and 4 were really good. I really like this show, and I think that the reason why it's so good is because of Paul. Paul holds people accountable, and also he does not persuade anybody to stay in a situation that's not beneficial to them, and actually he challenges them when they want to stay. He challenges them, and he's like, I'm happy that y'all got to this point, but let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's slow down. Let's take this slow, so you will know for sure if you want to be with this person or not. And I'm glad that he's like that. Him and Mark from Off of Temptation Island, I love them because they hold these people accountable, and they give a lot of tools for people to work things out, whether that be together or individually. And that is how you do a dating show, a dating reality TV show. You have someone who helps the people in the house do the work. But let me know what y'all think about Cheat so far, episodes 3 and 4. Like, I really love it. I was skeptical about it early on, but from the first episode, I was all in. Like, I really like how it's designed, and I hope this is going to be a blueprint for other reality shows, other like love reality TV shows in the future, because this is how you do it. This is how you do it. But let me know what y'all think. Like, what are y'all guess? Like, who do y'all think is going to stay together? Who do y'all think is going to break up? Like, what do y'all think about it as a whole? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Before you go, check out my website at srgrahamwrites.org and scroll all the way down to the bottom to fill out the subscription form to get updates, news, and book releases. Thank you.